Now on Sunrise and streaming on crossroadstoday.com. Breaking overnight, the death toll climbs in Gaza as Israel begins striking the Strip once again. And tariffs could impact tourism in America. A closer look, that's coming up. Plus, the president is set to announce new sweeping tariffs. The details just ahead.
And for us, more fire weather is coming to the Crossroads, coming away tomorrow. Red flag warnings are already up for us in a good majority of the state. But after that's all said and done, guess what is coming our way? Rain chances are possible. All that and the weather coming up.
And this past week in Victoria West and East, girls powerlifting placed well at state. Find out how they did coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now Sunrise. Good morning, Crossroads, and happy Tuesday. We're just 2 days. Would you consider it 2 days or 3 days away from the first day of spring?
2 days away. Thursday is going to be the spring equinox, the first day of astronomical spring. But for us, it has been spring for a long time, and I hope y'all are enjoying it.
Let's stretch that spring feeling out as long as we can before we get to the microwave summer weather.
That's right, before we get to summer, usual in the South Texas where we're always in the 90s and even hundreds. That's not coming our way yet, but what is coming our way today especially, I want to let y'all know, it is going to be windy today, so prepare for that. We're going to look at those wind gusts later on Sunrise, because right now, if you're tuning in with us, you're looking live in Victoria. Pretty clear out there right now, but a little bit cool. So if you're all headed out the door early this morning, grab a jacket. 58 degrees right now. I'd say that's a tad cool in my opinion. But dew point 54, 4 degrees off in that temperature, bringing humidity to a lower 87%. Still pretty high, but it's not high enough to see fog, so you don't have to worry about that this morning, especially with a little bit of a breeze blowing through. Sustained winds are about 5 to 10 miles an hour, but gusts are higher. We'll look at that map here in a second, because temperatures all across the state are pretty generally in the 50s and 60s this morning, and the same thing with us in the Crossroads. We're all starting out the day in the upper 50s. Some of the northern counties maybe in the mid 50s, but getting closer to that warmer Gulf water on the coast, y'all are in the low, mid, and even upper 60s for some this morning. But like I said, it is a bit breezy right now. We do have wind gusts being reported this morning at about 20 miles an hour, but if you thought it was windy now, wait till this afternoon. We have wind advisories in effect for today. So if you're all headed out the door today, looking for a nice warm and windy and sunny day, and tonight, another nice cool night in the low 60s. We'll look at all those details coming up next.
Breaking overnight, at least 400 people have been killed after Israel carried out what it called extensive strikes across Gaza early Tuesday. In a statement, Israeli defense officials say they were in the process of conducting strikes on Hamas targets. Hamas accuses Israel of ending the ceasefire agreement. Netanyahu says Hamas has refused to release hostages and is rejecting offers of mediation. The White House says Israel notified the Trump administration ahead of the strikes in Gaza. The state of Texas versus Fernando Acosta Jr. moves forward this week. A pretrial conference is scheduled for Wednesday. It'll take place in the 130th District Court in Matagorda County. A jury trial for Acosta will follow and is scheduled for April 7th. In 2021, Acosta was charged with the murder of Amanda Johnson. On April 17, 2021, Amanda was found dead in a burnt vehicle in Matagorda County. The scheduled trial comes just days away from marking 4 years since Amanda Johnson's death. Johnson was 38 when she was found dead. A Crossroads attorney group is offering some legal help for residents. The group's founder is in some legal trouble himself after an incident 2 years ago. B County is trying to resolve legal issues with their former mayor and the chief public defender for the Crossroads Regional Public Defender Office, while he works to build an organization for less fortunate Crossroads residents.
Brian Watson, former Beeville mayor and chief public defender of B County, finds himself on both sides of the courtroom. He's the founder of the Crossroads Regional Public Defenders, a group dedicated to providing equal protection under the law to everyone. Their goal is to reach Crossroads residents who wouldn't previously have access to legal services. Watson says the office is 5 months ahead of schedule and has already resolved 100 cases.
We're going to, I think, really change the landscape of the legal community here in a positive way, in a way that this community is going to respond to positively. We want to, at the end of the day, leave our clients in a better position, of course, with their cases, but also with their lives. And
the organization plans to have a total of 19 full-time attorneys on staff. Crossroads Public Defenders is funded by the Texas Indigent Defense Commission. However, Watson is also facing an indictment for misuse of official information in B County. Prosecutors say the case involves mishandled criminal case information from May 2023, released before it was public. Also charged is Whitney Rushing, a former district attorney's office employee. The oversight board decided last April to move forward with Watson's appointment. He started last May and earns $160,000 a year. Watson didn't specify exactly what, but he says new information on his case should be coming in the next few weeks. Trenton Whiting, KAVU TV, 25 News Now.
The Bay City and State Fire Marshal's offices are investigating the death of a 63-year-old man in a house fire. It happened at 1216 Austin Street on Sunday. Firefighters found heavy fire and smoke coming from the structure. Neighbors who reported the fire say the man who lived at the home was still inside. Firefighters searched for the man, but he was already dead when they found him inside the home. The fire caused an estimated $50,000 in damage to the home. Now to a battle brewing between two neighbors that could upend the tourism industry here in the U.S. this summer.
Like a good neighbor, Canada has seemingly always been there for the U.S. tourism industry, but this year is different.
I was planning a trip to LA to see a friend. However, we decided to go to Mexico instead.
A new survey warns 30% of Canadians who had trips to the U.S. planned have now canceled them as tensions rise between the two countries. From the dispute over tariffs triggering boos for the American anthem, President Trump's talk of making Canada the 51st state. Canadians are vowing to make their voices heard.
It's Canada strong. We can stand up for ourselves. We've called out those comments. They're disrespectful.
The Thousand Islands area on the U.S.-Canada border already feeling the strain.
What we've noticed is a lot of our potential visitors, particularly on the Canadian side, they're quite angry. They're quite hurt by what they see as policy and rhetoric that is attacking.
Dollywood and other attractions in Tennessee also bracing.
One of our tour operators told us immediately she lost about 30% of her business trips that she had already booked to the U.S.
Airlines affected too. Canada-based WestJet says bookings to the U.S. have fallen nearly 25%. And it's not just Canadians avoiding travel to the U.S. Analysts say a trade war with Europe and other allies could trigger a drop of nearly 11% in travel spending this year. President Trump has said the tariffs on Canada and European allies are necessary to restore fairness to global trade and bring jobs back to the U.S. Lionel Moyes, ABC News, New York.
Experts say it's not too late for the U.S. to avoid inflation and a potential economic slowdown. Members of the Trump administration are declining to predict if the U.S. will go into a recession. April 2nd is when President Donald Trump says he'll unveil sweeping new tariffs. He says they'll offer negotiating leverage, protection for some domestic industries, and a response to trade deficits. A new report predicts if U.S. businesses end up paying more tariffs, that could lead to price hikes and a slower U.S. economy. Remember, follow us on YouTube, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. The time now is, looking at our clock, at 6:38 on our Tuesday morning. Here's a look at what's coming up next on 25 News Now Sunrise. An update on Victoria's compost facility.
Israel hits Gaza with a series of airstrikes. I'm Nicole D'Antonio in Washington with what this could mean for the ceasefire and the remaining hostages in the region.
And also coming up next after the break, in the short-term forecast, we are awaiting that strong dry line to pass us through tomorrow morning, making it dry, and also a bit breezy. Alert days already up for the fire weather. How dry? We'll look at those details coming up next. Well, good morning, Crossroads. You're looking live and clear and cool. Cuero, right now we are starting out the day at about 56 degrees. So if you're about to head out the door, go ahead and grab that jacket. It's still a little bit cool out there. Dew point 2 degrees off, bringing that humidity to 92%. But like I said earlier, no need to worry about fog because we have a little bit of a breeze blowing through. And if you thought right now was breezy, well, y'all just wait until the afternoon because it is going to be a windy day today. Here are your future wind gusts going into noontime. This is noon on your Tuesday. You can see wind gusts already up to about 35, maybe even 40 miles an hour at times, which is the range that we're looking for today. However, we could see a wind gust topping as high as 45 miles an hour for a moment or so. So if y'all see that, just make sure to be careful today, especially on the roads, because winds, y'all know about this. This could toss your car back and forth on the roadways. Now, those breezy winds, they will continue into tonight with gusts tonight, overnight tonight, going to be between 30 to 35. I'm thinking maybe a 40-mile-an-hour is possible, as you just saw right there in Edna and Ganado. But going into tomorrow, your weather Wednesday, breezy winds will continue with the help of a strong dry line that will be passing through in the morning time. And here it is right here, passing through us probably between 9 or 10 a.m. And you can see as soon as it passes, those strong westerly winds going to plummet our humidity, y'all. We're looking at humidity values dropping to as low as 5 to 20% for all of our counties tomorrow. You can see that is indicated by 7% in Beeville. And if you combine that with the breezy winds, we have red flag warnings in effect for your weather Wednesday tomorrow for a good majority of our counties. Ones that are not under that are actually under the watch right now. And if you thought we were the only ones, well, this expands all the way from the Rio Grande Valley all the way up into Nebraska is where those fire weather warnings are in effect. So with that in mind, tomorrow we have an alert day in effect for your weather Wednesday for all of our counties where we're expecting those wind gusts up to 25 to 30 miles an hour. Like I said, tomorrow, dry humidity down to 5%. So with that in mind, I highly discourage burning. Please don't do that, y'all. Please don't burn down the county. But after that's all said and done, we got a front coming through, making it feel nicer, and another front coming this weekend with what's that? Bringing us rain chances. We'll look at that.
All right, good morning, Crossers. Hope you had a great St. Patrick's Day yesterday. And this past weekend, both Victoria East and West girls powerlifting teams did very well as the girls' state powerlifting was held in Edinburgh. And so here are the results. First for both teams overall. East placed first with winning their first state, back-to-back state championship. For West, they finished third there for the entire state. First with some individual results. East had Carly Garcia getting first place, winning state champion in the 181-pound weight class. Olivia Zaboro got first place, winning the 198-pound weight class, becoming state champion. Mia de los Santos and Cecilia Bonios got second place in the 220-pound weight class and the 242-pound weight class. And then as for West, Kiana Price won the 114-pound weight class, and Deja and Savannah Garcia got fourth place in the 242 and 242-plus weight class. Now, I didn't mention all the names, but if you want to check out all the results, I did post an article out to crossroadstoday.com where you can see all the girls' names for East and West that did place there at the state meet. This is Max Williams, 25 News Now Sports.
Experience our digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can stream our daily newscasts and much more using your connected TV. Just download Crossroads Today Plus on your Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, or Android TV. Just search for Crossroads Today Plus. Now to the latest on the Israeli airstrikes in Gaza, the first major attack since the ceasefire with Hamas began nearly 2 months ago. More than 400 people have been killed and hundreds more injured.
Overnight, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordering the Israeli military to launch a wave of airstrikes across the Gaza Strip, targeting members of Hamas throughout the region. Israel's defense minister saying they returned to fighting in part because of Hamas's refusal to release the hostages and threats to harm IDF soldiers and Israeli communities. Hamas, for their part, says Israel's actions jeopardizes the negotiations, saying, quote, Netanyahu and his extremist government have decided to overturn the ceasefire agreement, putting the prisoners in Gaza at an unknown fate. Israel says they kept the White House informed of their plans.
The Trump administration and the White House were consulted by the Israelis on their attacks in Gaza tonight. And as President Trump has made it clear, Hamas, the Houthis, Iran, all those who seek to terrorize not just Israel, but also the United States of America will see a price to pay.
Until today, there's been relative calm in the region, with the return of about 36 hostages in exchange for thousands of Palestinian prisoners. But the first phase of the ceasefire ended 2 weeks ago. Mediators, including the United States, Qatar, and Egypt, have been involved in negotiating the next steps, which was supposed to see the release of the remaining hostages. But negotiations have stalled, with neither side able to agree on a path forward. Israel says this new offensive will continue for as long as necessary and could expand beyond just airstrikes. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
And that leads us to your viewer poll. We want to know, did you think the Gaza ceasefire would last longer? 12% of you say yes and 88% of you say no. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part in our viewer poll. And the Victoria City Council meets at 5 p.m. today. Here are some items from their agenda. An ordinance amending Chapter 24 of the City Code for various changes in parks and recreation fees, fire department and police department fees. And they'll also discuss an amendment to an interlocal agreement with the Golden Crescent Regional Planning Commission for the operation of Victoria Transit and increasing the total local match to $600,000. And they'll also consider support for a Senate bill and a House bill relating to the transfer of the UHV campus to Texas A&M University System. They'll meet at 107 West Walnut Street in Council Chambers. Victoria's compost facility will reopen this morning after a fire broke out Sunday afternoon. Facility staff and the Victoria Fire Department kept the flames contained and are keeping a close watch to prevent any flare-ups. There's no danger to the public, but you may still see some smoke. Compost fires can smolder for a few days before they're completely out. The site is open from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday and opens at 7 a.m. to noon on Saturdays and closed Sunday. The time is now 6:47 on our Tuesday morning. Still to come on Sunrise. A French lawmaker has set his eyes on the Statue of Liberty. What the demands are, that's after the break. All right, it's time to celebrate some birthday. Happy birthday to Carlos. Happy 16th birthday, Carlos. We hope you have a wonderful birthday. We love you. Love from your whole family.
Aw, happy birthday, Carlos. And also happy birthday to rapper, singer, and actress Queen Latifah. She's turning 55 today. Happy birthday, Queen Latifah. And to see your birthday wish live on 25 News Now Sunrise, just head on over to crossroadstoday.com, click the drop-down menu, then click the home tab, and then you'll see Submit Your Birthday Photo.
All right, the time is now, looking at our clock up here, at 6:48 on our Tuesday morning. Happy birthday if you're celebrating one today, or maybe you did earlier this week.
That's right, maybe over that last weekend. That's right, happy birthday. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, good morning, Crossroads. I'm sure a lot of y'all saw that 7-day forecast a few moments ago, and you saw rain chances back in the forecast. I'm sure a lot of y'all are super duper excited about that. Hope you're as excited as I am, because we haven't seen rain, at least a solid amount of rain, measurable amount of rain to get rid of our drought in at least 3 or 4 weeks. But before that happens, we've got a very windy day coming our way today. I'm sure you heard me talking about gusts as high as 40 to 45 miles an hour. Bless you, Carolina. And the wind gusts are bringing us some pollen. As you can hear, Carolina is sneezing over there, so go ahead and take that allergy pill. But today, the windy gust is going to lead us to today's weather poll. Today, I ask you, when it's a windy day, what do you usually protect outside? I usually mean outside. That means your outdoor plants. 40% of y'all are voting that. Maybe that could be your hanging plants. Outdoor furniture, that's at 30%. Same thing with trash and recycling bins. And I'm just the same with y'all. My bins are all the way across the street when it's a windy day. So continue voting on our future weather polls by going to crossroadstoday.com/vote-weather. And I thank y'all for voting on today's weather poll. But looking at where all the winds are coming from, well, you probably heard me talking about this ever since last week, actually. There's this monstrous upper-level low pressure system that is moving over the mountains right now. You can actually see it on satellite, spinning counterclockwise over parts of Nevada, moving into Wyoming. That system will continue moving eastward over the next 48 hours, sending us that strong dry line tomorrow morning, and then a front. Weak cool front tomorrow, Wednesday night. I'm going to look at those temperatures here in a second, because we're going to shift our focus away from that and onto what's way more important in our eyes. This system over the Pacific, that will be bringing us our rain chances. We'll look at that in a second, because that first system moving off the mountains today, actually bringing us that front, like I said, tomorrow night. Second system, not going to concern to us, because the third system coming off the mountains this weekend will bring us that front and the rain chances. We'll look at that in a second, because temperatures back in the mid 70s and then upper 70s after that front comes through tomorrow night. Very nice, actually, on Thursday. And then that second system comes off, the third one comes off the mountains this weekend, and we're looking at rain chances for Sunday night, finally. And we'll look at all that more later on Sunrise.
She's welcomed people to the U.S. and has served as a beacon of democracy for nearly 150 years. Now, one French lawmaker is saying, give her back. European Parliament members are referring to the Statue of Liberty. The French lawmaker alluded to the mass government layoffs in the U.S., but President Donald Trump's tariff orders may have also swayed his opinion. The statue was a gift from France to the U.S. after the Civil War. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said absolutely not to the possibility of returning the statue. A federal judge heard arguments Monday on the Trump administration's use of the Alien Enemies Act to deport people accused of being members of a Venezuelan gang. The 18th century law allows the government to deport certain nationals in times of war without trial and hasn't been invoked since 1941. It came after a U.S. district judge temporarily blocked the effort Saturday and ordered flights carrying deportees to return to the U.S. The administration refused to provide any details during the hearing. Another hearing is set for Friday. Still to come on Sunrise, news to know before you go. 2 astronauts on their way home today. When they splash down, we have the details. After an unplanned 9 months in space, astronauts Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore are finally on their way home. The pair traveled to the International Space Station in June. They were supposed to be there for a couple of weeks. NASA's SpaceX Crew 9 is making preparations to return to Earth from the International Space Station. The 13-foot wide capsule departed the ISS at 1:05 a.m. this morning and should splash down sometime this afternoon. President Trump plans to release the unredacted files associated with John F. Kennedy's assassination today. In February, the FBI said it had discovered about 2,400 new records related to the 1963 JFK assassination from a new record search following an executive order from the president. Trump says all the documents will be released, amounting to around 80,000 pages. Harvard says tuition will be free for families making $200,000 or less. The new plan will enable about 86% of U.S. families to qualify for Harvard financial aid and expand the Ivy League college's commitment to providing all undergrads the resources they need to enroll and graduate. The annual tuition for an undergraduate student is $56,550, not including housing costs. Bloomington Stronger Together is meeting this evening. There will be reports given by the Water District, and residents will discuss the pros and cons of incorporation. They'll also hear about upcoming fundraisers. Precinct 1 Commissioner Danny Garcia will be in attendance, and that meeting is at the VFW Hall on Contrive Avenue, and it starts at 6:30 p.m. Texas lawmakers are considering moving bingo operations from the Texas Lottery Commission to the Department of Licensing and Regulation amid increased scrutiny of the lottery agency. You can read this story by the Texas Tribune on crossroadstoday.com. And we want to invite you to experience our new digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV through Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, and Android TV. You just search Crossroads Today Plus. And now we get a final look at our forecast. Let's see what the sunrise looks like with Parker. Parker, how's it going?
Well, that sun is starting to slowly rise over the coast this morning. You got some very pretty colors out there, pink, yellow, blue, all kinds of purple colors out there as well. And if you're all going to head out the door to go see that sunrise, a little bit cool out there, I might maybe recommend a light jacket. Port Lavaca, you're sitting at 63, but everybody else is in the mid and upper 50s this morning, so a tad bit cool, but it is going to surely warm up today thanks to that sunshine and very breezy, windy Gulf winds today. So fishers and boaters, we're looking for a small craft advisory, in effect, with choppy waves 2 to 3 feet high, so be careful if you are out there today. Temperatures along the bays, I'm thinking a high of 79 in Port Lavaca underneath that beaming sun, and like I said, wind gusts as high as 40 miles an hour, possibly 45 at times, so be careful with that. 80 I'm thinking for the high today in Victoria, and if you're a fan of that, well, we're going to be nice just like that for the next several days with the help of a couple fronts, bringing us more fire weather and finally rain chances over the weekend.
We are looking forward to that rain.
Oh, I cannot wait. So excited.
All right, well, thank you all for being with us this Tuesday morning. Be sure to join Shauna, Dawn, Myclovia, and Max today for 25 News Now at 5, 6, and 10. Have a great day.